the one who I nearly decapitated. So here we have our ESC, and let's open this up and have a look, see what we have. Try to figure out exactly what I'm doing. Right, okay, from what I can remember, these go to the motor, these would be to the PDB, and that would go somewhere on the flight controller, is my guess. So we have that like so. We have our motor and our ESC. Okay, looks like I don't need these wires at all. I'll just direct solder to the motor. So let's get rid of this little plastic sheeting and see how we get on. The only reason how I know or have an idea of this is from watching a video from Stu from UAV Futures and from Mr. Know-It-All himself, Mr. Joshua Bardwell. I'm watching their videos a few weeks back, so that's why I'm trying to recall from memory, because if I didn't look at them videos I wouldn't have a notion, because it's not exactly something you can just guess along the way, because there's just too much. Well, it's fair enough, building a frame you can guess, but yeah, when it comes to electronics you can't really tell. So as you can probably tell, that this has been set up and used, and as you can see, a big jumble of wires. It's an absolute disgrace. And the last time I tried to video it, I had camera trouble and all the files were lost. But this time I'm going to take all these wires and tidy them up to make it look a bit more respectable, and as I'm putting it back together then I shall show you the way it should be and the way I have it and the parts I need to get. As you can see, it is an absolute jungle and it really needs to be tidied up. So let's get this tidied up. So we have the PDB back in place, and what I done was I turned the PDB, the power distribution board, around, because when I had this wire here coming out the side and the big long battery or the big long cable on the battery was interfering with the props, so I'm going to have it sticking out the back so it won't interfere, well, hopefully. And as you can see, there's a little nick, and there was a couple of nicks there from where the props were hitting it. And I've also added in the wiring. Move that. This wiring here is going to be for the FPV system, the camera at the front, receiver at the back. So I'll put that in at the moment, even though I'm not using the cameras till I get the goggles. That's just to have it all ready and handy dandy to put all back together when I do get them. So I'm just going to rewire these back up. These are the ESCs, the electronic speed controllers, wrapped up nice and tight, nice and snug. I have a bit of rubber insulation underneath the ESCs, between the ESCs and the frame, just for protection. With the PDB, it doesn't particularly matter which pads you solder these onto, because this one is shocking. I should have just went totally fresh, but however, it doesn't really matter because they are all wired up this very same. And there goes camera 1, as always. Let me see what happened. For some reason the battery is knackered in this camera. I'm gonna have to invest in a new one. Let's see what happens. Let's try again. What have we got? I have 2 on. Try get. Okay, it died on me. Let's change things around a bit. Right, we're back in action with the side camera, the one I have borrowed off my brother, the one who I nearly decapitated, and the one who's been looking after me with the still images, the new updates on Facebook and that you may have seen. Yes, I should have cleaned it all. I got fresh stuff on it. Let's give me some fresh solder in that. Come on. Heat up. It's a bit contrary. That's it. Try and concentrate. Right. Now let's try this again. As you can see, I was never the best solderer. Oh, just well that didn't work. I think I was putting it on the wrong thing. I was. Oh, just as well it didn't, because I was putting a plus to a minus, and that would have been a disaster. Let's try again. There's one. I'll try this one. It's a reasonably cheap solder iron I have here. I'll do with a better one. Something I'll have to invest in one of these years. But it has been doing its job, although not the cleanest. Then again, that's my lack of skill. That's the minus, yeah. Make sure you get the poles correctly, plus to plus, minus to minus, because things can go seriously awry if you don't. And I don't want to find out exactly what happens. Because I prefer nothing bad to happen if I can get it right first go, or similar, or close. So let's give this a shot at a tidy up. Just try to work it down there. Now that is this, and this goes here. The orange and brown ones that you see are signal wires for the ESC, and the ones I'm doing right now are the power wires for the ESC. Now, let me just get these little top of for security and connectivity. Not the best button, not the worst. It'll do its job. As you can see, it's covered in grass from the amount of cartwheels and tumbles that I have managed to do in this thing. Okay, this is going on a slightly different way again. It's been rotated by 180 degrees, so I'll have to fix that in the software. And the reason I'm doing that is because these wires here will cut too short. Right, these will all fit over. Yeah. And there is a buzzer that was added on. That is to help find it in case we lose it in long grass or in a tree. You can set the buzzer to buzzing, and we can do echolocation with our ears. Now, this is the part where I quite messed up beforehand. Just here I added in a big block which allowed for these connectors, but I find once these connectors are on, it's too high for the machine, so I have to take off those connectors, and instead of taking off this entire block, which would have been a nightmare because they're soldered underneath, I trimmed these down and I'm going to solder the wires direct, like that one there. Now, get the orientation right. This is the front, so motor 1. We'll go to connection 1. That is the way it needs to be set up. I think I shall get these wires pre-tinned and add a bit to I did stick that one like that. There we go. Yes, now let's try tidy this around this way. I think now orange is the signal and brown is the ground, or negative, positive, negative in this. Fiddly little wires. Now, can you even see? We try and get this. That's that one. They doing this first ones ain't so bad. It's when we start getting to the ones with some at the side where they can connect and hit off each other, that is where the problem shall be. So that wire, I'll tuck that in around here when I have it all sorted. So if I tuck that wire around, it'll keep it in, and I think these 2 points will do the job. The points where they were before, so give that a snip, and that a snip, and pull that off, pull that off, and just expose just a little bit of cabling or a bit of wire so we can get the solder onto it and solder onto those pins. I have a solder iron a long time, but I never actually properly learned how to use it. And I never used it for electronics like this. It was always just an LED and a wire, or a motor and a wire, or something like that. So if any of you experienced with solder out there, give me slack for this. I am sorry. I'm not well versed in the art of soldering. but I seem to know just enough to get what I need done in building the squad. Now we need it to go over. Now I think I need this one a bit longer, just for the sake of it. Well, better to have a little bit more than having to stretch. Because already on the first motor, or the first one, I had to rearrange the flight controller, the FC, because I cut it too short. And let me get a bit of bit of tin in this. I have no idea what's in shot this, because with this camera I can't check without having to check the other side of the camera, as that's where the other one was handy. I had the turnable screen, which made it easier to check what was in view, to see what you could, so I could check it, make sure you could see something, rather than just an empty screen. There's probably people out there screaming, "Are you doing it completely wrong? Don't do it this way, don't do it that way." Well, I'm learning as I go, so if you know of better ways, or something apart from buying a new controller, which is something I did think of, but I said, what's the point of buying a new one when this one works fine? I'm just trying to tidy up, that's all. And in the process I can show people how I wired it. And that one was nearly wrong altogether. Really have to check all your connections, all your leads. It's like that old saying, measure twice, cut once, when it comes to woodwork or metalwork. Yeah, it's getting fiddly. I probably should have worked from the inside, or from the middle out. Oh, I don't want any cross contamination. Now, what might have been a good idea was add a bit of heat shrink onto the wire before soldering these, then drop the heat sink down, but I didn't have any. Nope. I ran out of heat shrink, but hopefully I shall be getting some tomorrow, as one of my local shops is actually having it on special. Aldi's, if you know it, I'm sure you do. And I have to say, this frame and these motors have taken some abuse. I have hit the ground and done more cartwheels than a gymnast, as you can tell by the grass and the dirt all over it, and still held up. Well, I lost one screw, that was it, and I only noticed that when I went to take it all apart. I actually didn't tighten it up, and I didn't use any Loctite. But these things will happen, especially when it's being put under tremendous stress and pressure and connection. When it's being thrown around at high speed and hitting the ground at high speed. Now, yes, it still looks messy, but it's nowhere near as bad as it was. See, that'll all fold down into the folds there. Now, let me just see how that's a shockingly bad job, but there is no overlapping, there is no wires attaching or touching off other wires. There's, I think there might be just a dab too much of solder there. Yes, there's no strays, right. So that's that. And that's the ESCs wired up. Yeah, so the PD up or that's the ESCs wired up. The power to the PDBs and signal to the signal. And that is that basically for today. So we can get these massive big standoffs. As you can see, they're quite big there, and they just barely touch the frame when it goes on, like so. It's just nice and right, nice and tight, and we can use it for tidying wires around them. That's why I don't mind them being a little fair bit taller than the other ones that are on. There we go. Get them nice and snug and tight as they act like a bolt, and I can hide things around them. Now the other part was these two connectors, wherefore this, as you can see, this is a big jumble mess as well, which will also need to be tidied up. See if we can have that way, so it clips on underneath maybe. No, because the bolt there. I'll get that down. Yeah, I could do the same for these wires, chop them down, but they are taking up a lot of space, these brackets. And now that I know where they all go, I don't think, yes, look at the size difference. It's doubling its height. So leave that for the moment. And that is how I wired up my ESCs. Messy, but cleaner than it was.